Hello YouTube, I'm the Red Wright and welcome back to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. Now, last time, it seems that Christoph Gavin is our true perpetrator here, and I don't know. I mean, every single defense attorney mentor has turned out to be pretty bad at some point. Well, not bad, just had an uncertain fate. Except for Mia Fey, dead. Manfred von Karma, he turned out to be a criminal, and I assume he's dead. Diego Armando, it's assumed he is dead. But this is going to be the first time where it turns out that this guy is a killer. Well, Manfred von Karma is a killer, and Diego Armando was a killer. But anyway, let's see what we have in store for us. Court will now reconvene. There we go, you finally said it right, for once. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Oh boy, we are interrogating you now. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. The witness state his name and occupation.
Alright. Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Everything is necessary to reveal the truth.
Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom.
Yes, they have.
For example, we've had to deal with the whole circus act in here, and that was pretty crazy. But as well, we had a robotic prosecutor always throw coffee at the defense. That was pretty ludicrous. And don't even get me started with the lady with the whip.
But anyway, fine, if you insist, I'll play along.
First, there is one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat?
Secret? I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity. But what is about this fellow's head? What is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
Whoa! Right? I wouldn't call it an inordinate. Mr. Gavin! Oh! There's the old objection theme! Oh, I missed this! I really hope we get to hear more of this. I do love Apollo's objection theme, but this one just hits it back home. It's a classic. Oh, now he's our assistant. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, Wright? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Yeah, Maya, Pearl would always be on this side. Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off, except for that one time. That one time? Being the instant he was hit! Oh! When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. True. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have had to be at the scene of the crime! At the time of the crime! True. In other words, you'd have to be the real killer, is what you're trying to say. Oh, I don't like that smile. Yes. Not bad, Apollo. Ooh.
Mr. Gavin?
I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
What a surprise!
Didn't see that coming.
What?
Oh, I assure you, I have the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. To protect Mr. Wright and to protect you. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night.
Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night?
Oh. Are you the killer, or are you not? Reveal the truth, once and for all. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. I must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that he was not the best place for me. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. If you're already there when the crime took place, why would Wright need to call you? So, you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed.
Mr. Galvin, may I remind you that you are Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client.
Yeah. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. Huh? And you have to testify, as you just did. You have to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright, I don't follow. You have to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? I still don't get it.
Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
Yes, Your Honor. No, let the defendant do it. He has more experience. But if I do it as well, that'll prove Apollo worthy in the eyes of Mr. Wright. So, all right, leave it to me. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Like I said yesterday, with Mr. Wright involved, there is no normal. But anyway, that fateful night. Let's press everything. Let's not rush. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that. So then you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Makes sense that he'd know. They were friends, after all. Where from my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score.
What happened then?
Okay, so nothing there. Went down to the basement and peeked into the little window through the hideout. Hang on, do I have? Oh yeah, that'll come in clutch. The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The black marketers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? Oh, I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, but if my fears had been unfounded, I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far everything you're saying makes sense. Okay, never mind. Maybe, but he touched his glasses. Maybe I gotta do the bracelet thing like Miss O'Reilly did with the back of her hair. Must have been right after the murder took place. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. You don't tell me what to do. You're on the witness stand now. So, I'll shout. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is. Coolest defense in the West. We know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you changed too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Friends like these, who needs enemies? Ugh, or maybe that is it. Must have been right after the murder took place. Now I'll press everything. By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene. Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. And then Mr. Wright came along to replace his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hands. But then Wright came in after. Were the only three at the scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? Why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, just as I said, I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious fourth person, who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question, then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Huh? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary? How can I show something? I can't find myself. Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out with the 5th ace. 5th ace, right.
Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point out to a reason?
Let me look thoroughly through this. A single drop of blood makes the front of the card. Well, Trucy said it was the... Here goes! It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out.
Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace?
Here goes nothing! My reason is, this! Is that an ace?
Why? Why it's got blood on it? Right next to the spade.
What? Oh, we're getting somewhere. This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Here we go.
Could this be the missing 5th ace?
Uh-oh, here we go. Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Ah, I got you, Kristoff. I got you. Well, that's the thing. It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up after the Porsche Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all. Objection! No! Impossible! Unacceptable! What kind of objection is that? I object. That was objectionable. This court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. Oh, didn't we already deal with something like this in the case, the 5th DLC case in Game 1? As long as there's evidence that is... As long as the evidence... there was something like unregistered evidence must be related to the trial, and therefore, it's evidence. What do you say? A fraud. How can you be so sure? What? Only you would know it's a fraud, wouldn't you, Kristoff? I would think that the only person who would claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Oh, allow me to elaborate. Be my guest. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime.
Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo and the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from the forehead down from the back of his head. From the back of his head. Oh, that's blood. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen onto one of the cards? I suppose? The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Boo-hoo-hoo. Don't care. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer parts of our legal system later. Yeah, any evidence is every evidence. All evidence matters. So even though it's not unregistered, if it points to the real killer, it's true evidence. Yeah, we learned that the hard way. Because even so, everything, Damon Gant, Man on Guard, Dahlia Hawthorne, Manfred von Karma, all the evidence, it pointed to them, and it sent him right to prison. And that's what's gonna happen to you, Kristoff Gavin. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene? And now, I've told you, that one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see? This is baseless conjecture. Baseless. Why, does it have his fingerprints on it? Oh, I love that noise. Oh, look at that! Look at him, he's pointing. Ah, the legend returns. Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. Yes, Mr. Wright is based, and you, Kristoff, are cringe. It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. Okay? In your head. Whoa! 3D on this. Oh, I like this. Okay. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it, on the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. What is it? Yeah, let's keep it simple. Shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, okay, so the killer, that would be Gavin, victim, Mr. Smith, witness, that would be Wright, and number 2, maybe Olga, or maybe, no. I don't know. Okay, so, I know Wright's not the killer, but victim is Shady Smith, killer is Mr. Wright, witness is Olga Orley, and 2 is Christoph. Whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims? The killers? The witnesses? The second witness? Whose position doesn't fit into the bloody card? What? The bloody card? Well, it would be the second witness, would it not? But would it not be? The second witness position is the problem. Second witness? That would be Mr. Gavin, yes? Second witness position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Perhaps perilous is a better word. Oh. That was not correct. I suppose. Given that there was a drop of blood on... Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, his position in this diagram doesn't fit. The victim? Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? Oh, you would think that any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him. Oh. Yeah, sure, whatever. I knew that. Oh! Take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall onto the floor, not on the cards. That's right. Yeah, so what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in the swivel chairs. What? Oh, man. What? Paulo, try turning the chair around. Oh, we create the crime scene. Okay, the chair was facing the other way? It would have to be. Oh, we can do this? We can, like, tamper with crime scenes? Let's go. But didn't Iris do that and she got a sentence? Oh, seeing as Phoenix's current condition, where is Iris? Oh, he needs... And seeing how Trucy needs a mom. Yeah, Iris, come back. Please, be Trucy's mother and Phoenix's wife. Please. The victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. And we got you now. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. Okay, but this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The location creates a contradiction. The victim was facing away. That would be the killer's. Because why would he be facing like that? The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it would be quite hard, yes. Well, pain! No one cares. What you're saying makes no sense. Why did the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. What is it? Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, what is it? A salient be standing. Try marking it on the diagram. What? There's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. When the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime, that's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? He would have to be in the front, wouldn't he? The killer have to be standing, well, here. You get points there, but that's about all you get. I thought I was onto something there, too. I don't need to point out that standing there would be impossible. I'm right, aren't I? Standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? Ha! I'm thinking outside the box, just like Diego told to Mia, and then Mia told to Wright, and Wright is telling to Apollo. It's simple logic, really. If those are the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that, at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin?
How does this guy keep getting me? I planned everything thoroughly. I made sure to get rid of every single piece of evidence. How am I dealing with this?
It's simple. You're dealing with Phoenix Wright. Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. You should arrange to examine the cupboards in the hideout. Immediately! Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately.
We can do this?
Have them try to move the cupboard. Your Honor?
What?
There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff.
Yes, I see. You do belong to the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright.
Yes, he does. I do my best. Then what happened to him? See, even the judge is like, I missed you. So what happened 7 years ago? Well, let's forge ahead here. While we wait, look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means, Apollo, try moving the cupboard.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. Okay? At the time of the murder, it has to have been as shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. Oh! Kristoff couldn't have seen it because the cupboard was blocking the window! Oh, I could never think of this big brain stuff. What's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? Yes, I do. Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please, point to the is it the victim? Blah, 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 which indicator it is? Now! It is, Mr. Gavin. About this cupboard, are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Consider every possibility. Well, if it was something really doesn't fit, the cupboard will completely cover up the window to the stairs! Oh! That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. Exactly.
What did you say?
Oh, is that the coolest defense in the West? Losing is cool? I like this sassy Phoenix. Well, Phoenix has always been sassy, but now that he's like matured, he's like calm and collected and he's not missing a beat.
Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right?
It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was. Well, the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor!
Order! This is a court of law and I will have order!
We just now received word from our investigative team at Porsche Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard at the hideout, Your Honor.
Oh? What did they find?
Well, Your Honor, it turns out there is a secret passage behind it. Let's go!
What?
Oh, that voice cracked again. Yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing we have when you're engaged in illegal going-ons. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cool bowl of borscht, cut out just like our killer. But, so, what? I don't follow. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? Not really. I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for the few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. Oh, so that's when he passed him. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something. It's not gonna be this easy. We need to dare I ask what really happened that night. Actually, I think we would probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hiding in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Ah! Ah! Wait, why do you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. His Oi was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shay Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look and... After the date was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. A single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Whoa. Whoa. Didn't even think of that. Is that it?
Well, it seems this trial is taking yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne!
Yerk? Yes, Your Honor.
The prosecution will continue the investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion.
Alright.
Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances called for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
I knew it wasn't over because he didn't give the not guilty verdict.
Oh. No need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not over yet. Not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? Yeah, it's not over till the fat lady sings. The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What do you mean? What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence? Yeah, even the judge is confused. How is this illegal?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course, this bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints of the murder weapon? Just like I said last time, it wasn't the murder weapon, so his fingerprints have no bearing on it whatsoever. And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingers in the bottle were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court and the case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold the bottle upside down, and that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how he caught fish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? What was that metaphor? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle. Still, but I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah, just like... What? Why wouldn't you grab the bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words?
It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice?
Oh boy. Yes. Save. Mr. Gavin said that the court and this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, Justice won't leave until justice is done.
Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court.
What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? What other reason would he have to hold the bottle upside down? What other reason other to hit someone? Let me think this through. So this is gonna be a trick question. Check. No, why would he do upset? Gonna check. Oh no, the fifth base wasn't there. It's empty. The bottle is completely empty. What other reason? What other reason? What other reason? Look through all this. I'm more of a red guy myself. Me too. What other reason would you have to hold a bottle upside down? For defense, maybe? I don't know, hang on, I'm gonna think this through. Okay, so you have a bottle, you hold it like this, and then... Cell phone? Cell phone? What? What other reason? Come on, think. Think, Red Riot, think. Autopsy? Shady Smith, type of Wow, this is hard. To see if the ace was in it? I'm gonna go for this. No. That was incorrect. Yep, penalty. Okay. Think too hard. Try picturing a situation in which one might grab the bottle upside down. Let me see these batteries again. Is it the phone? I don't know. Let's go through every evidence. Nope. Penalty. Thinking too hard. The answer is right in front of you. Just reach down and pick it up. Or try picture a situation with the... Is it the freaking bottle? Nope. Return to title, please. Yeah. Okay, let's try everything once again. Phone! That's not it! What do they expect? I have no idea how to explain it, me neither. Alright, so we basically covered everything. Let's try... this photo! Oh! That was my first evidence! I should have gone with my first gun. It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me? On the floor? Yes. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Oh my gosh, she's right. See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers. Upside down. Oh, come on. I thought of this way too hard. Look at this photograph taken the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. I can't believe it was that simple. I can't believe it was that simple either. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano, and you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles that made it look like the murder weapon! Oh, I didn't even consider that! Yes! But I was right. The bottle we have is not the murder weapon. Order! 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 What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. Misdirection? There was no misdirection here.
You claim that I switched the bottle?
Yes?
Where's your proof?
A proof?
Well, that's, as I thought, more basic conjecture.
Examine the fingerprints on the other bottle.
I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm having hiccups. Your Honor?
When you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional
He said grab all the bottles.
I remember about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club.
Phoenix, you legend. You're a legend.
And here's one of the bottles in question.
What are you going to do? Dust that for fingerprints too?
I would be surprised if any were on that but his.
That probably wouldn't make such an obvious mistake true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything.
Say, Apollo.
Yes?
Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle?
Why?
Just humor me. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all.
What?
That's some bottle. Alright, let's investigate this. What's this? Now, what have we here?
What is that?
There's something inside the Oh, it's the card. It's the card!
It's the 5 of hearts! Excuse me. Sorry about that, I started choking all of a sudden. What's this? That card. It can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment.
Miss Orley?
I want to call her unpleasant. Well, yeah, she was
a little unpleasant.
Yes, or swindling devochka, if that's a Russian term for, like, swine. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You told me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in the piece of testimony?
I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card.
Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts.
I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game.
Disposed? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle.
Oh, 5 of hearts.
This is the card. The bottles were swapped, and the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night.
You, Mr. Christoph Gavin!
What?
Whoa! What? How? Oh, we got him. That's it. Game over for you, Gavin.
That is all.
Mr. Wright, you are as legendary as you were 7 years ago. Is your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge?
Revenge?
Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years. It was you? So you took away his badge? Oh, this is the perfect revenge.
My past is like my logic. Straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction.
Fine.
I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete, right?
I'm not gonna say that. No. Actually, something is suspicious. Usually the client... This has to be a Dahlia Hawthorne case all over again, because when Dahlia was convicted in the first case of Trials and Tribulation, she was like, okay, you win, with a smile on her face. Oh, he's gonna come back for sure, because he did give that, but yeah, I slammed my fist down on my table, but he's not like, I was expecting more of a breakdown, unless that was it. Whatever. But I get the feeling this isn't the last we'll see of him, because he's on the front cover of the game. If he only appears for this case, why would he be on the front cover? Because every front cover of the game has appeared at least. Everyone on the front cover of every previous game has had a significant role. I get the feeling this isn't the last we'll see of him. This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anymore? That's your problem. You've lost every single case.
I believe this time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're prosecuting his arrest now.
I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
None of that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter.
About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler, a non-profession to be sure, and that's all we know about him.
I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Wright?
Yes?
7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch.
Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer.
He was extremely talented, to be sure.
I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Aw, I'm flattered.
Me?
A dark time is coming for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought by our very own court system. We have to set it right.
Mr. Wright?
Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Oh, look at that smile. Look at Mr. Wright's smile right there.
The court's on the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Not guilty. Woo-hoo! Attaboy.
That is all. Court is adjourned.
Oh, I missed saying those words. Good for us, good for us. Okay, and the judge got his own portrait then. Wasn't it like a lake or something beforehand? Thanks, Apollo. You came through, just like I thought you would. My pleasure, Mr. Wright. I'm sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. the Killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Yeah, am I a Jedi or something? Yes, the sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. I wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim? Is this true? Of course it's true. This is a weird vibe I'm getting. What? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer. Right. Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? But you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Oh, that reminds me. I got the girl's pictures in your locket. Yeah, Trucy Wright. Hello. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. So who's the mother? Hopefully it's Iris. I took this off her neck the night he died. I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is this locket... On the contrary... No, the hats don't match, but the cloaks do. Huh. But that's pre-jury. You testified. You said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. What? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. Tricky-tracky, Mr. Wright, and it's the truth. But then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truest isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo, why don't you work for Wright and Co. offices, if that's still a thing? Yes? How about coming to work for me? You mean at the Wright and Co. law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. But Apollo can be his attorney on Wright's steed. That incident 7 years ago. Legendary trial. What? And at that middle of it all was one man. Phoenix... Whoa! I need to know the basis of this. The case reached a sad conclusion and he left law for good. What do you mean? Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in the court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. What piece of evidence struck me as odd? It's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. But this was the forged evidence. What? Bloody ace? You mean this? Don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. What? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in this place, luckily for us. This court can't have set this evidence. It's a fraud! A fraud? How can it be so... Wait. So is that not even... So did you just get a card, put some blood on it? That is illegal! It would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then, you really... Yes, I forged this. What? One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? Oh, something hit him like a truck. That it made him turn this way. So it's true. The rumor is true. What? 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? What? What? I punched... Apollo! One does not simply punch Phoenix Wright. Not you, not Pearl Fay, not Red White. No one should have the audacity to punch Phoenix Wright. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office address. Drop in if you'd like. Not here. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. What? I punched him. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And, at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law. And this is how my story began. Well, you're doing definitely better than Jennifer Walters, attorney at law. But anyway, that's it. Tomorrow... Oh, look, a little Jersey right there. Alright, save. Alright, tomorrow, or maybe on Monday, depending on how we do, we'll go to episode 2, Turnabout Corner. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to. But thank you everybody so much for this journey. And I'll see you guys hopefully soon. Hopefully. Bye-bye.